Welcome to Midlife Matters, where we celebrate women's wisdom and wit. I'm Georgian Lussier, your host, and I'm delighted to introduce today's guest, Sherry Winston. Sherry is a jazz flutist who has played in major venues, including the Kennedy Center and the White House, and she has recently produced a cookbook that includes a CD that has some of her original music on it. So welcome, Sherry.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
You perform as a flutist for a wide variety of events.
I do.
And if you could describe some of your career highlights as well as the more standard fare.
Well, what's interesting, I developed a newsletter because people would say, oh, I saw you at this big concert, so I know you couldn't possibly play at my wedding. And I said, why not? Oh, well, you wouldn't do something like that after playing, say, the Kennedy Center. And it was just very odd for me to hear that people had me categorized. So we've done, my band and myself, some things as exotic and wonderful as the White House or the Kennedy Center. And then we've played in people's homes too, for private events. We've done all sorts of corporate gigs where we might be playing for a dinner or a reception or someone's personal party. So it really varies so much. We might do a dinner for 2,500 people and then turn around and do a reception for 100 people. So it makes the career very exciting because you never know what's going to come up, and sometimes it keeps you on pins and needles.
When you were fired, I know you said you've probably been fired a few times, as have I. Why do you characterize it as probably the best thing that ever happened to you?
Well, I could have stayed at a record company and waited for my pension and waited for Social Security and all of that and never really fulfilled what I truly wanted to do. I mean, the artists that I had at Columbia, and I had 32 artists, people like Wynton Marsalis, Branford Marsalis, Harry Connick Jr., Nancy Wilson, so many of the big names, Miles Davis and jazz, people would die to have a job like that, but I was always going to the concerts going, God, I wish I was on stage, or boy, what would it be like to be on stage with Grover Washington, which I actually wound up playing with Grover, or Ramsey Lewis, and I wound up opening up for him in a concert. What would that be like? So there was a lot of frustration there, and when I was fired, although I was very upset because I had a very big salary and the whole thing, expense account, and I was putting a lot of money away in the bank, which was very nice. When I got fired, I had to think, am I going to go and look for another record company job, which I could have gotten very easily, I had a great reputation, or at this age, and I won't say how old I was, but I was, up there.
Midlife?
Yeah, I was in midlife, and it was like, do I want to try to live my dream? Do I have the courage and the strength to do that? I said, what can happen? If I fail, I'll go try to find a job. I just prayed on it, and I said, I'm going to work as hard as I work for the record companies for myself.
Let's switch a little to one of your more recent endeavors, which is the cookbook. Recent, but 20 years in the making.
It took a long time, and to your audience who is listening, that to me just tells me, and the message for everybody is never give up on your dreams and never give up on yourself.